All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, and videos that kind of come few and far between, but we have, considering it's the same day celebration of 2023 right now, we have the same day unit of 2 years ago, which is the Dokkanfest Broly, a unit that's aged quite a bit now, but I still think is very good. Kind of went under the radar for like his first year of release. I kind of get that because he didn't really come back, but it was still pretty good. And he's finally got a 200% lead because of the God Goku's Pure Saiyans and Exploding Rage 200% lead. We have him rainbowed. I've had him rainbowed for a while. I've even got 4 extra copies just sitting there after summoning for God Goku. He is also level 10 links as well. Can't wait to try him out, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. All the support is very much appreciated. And we have him kind of quite well linked up. If you're realistically going to run him with units he links best with, aside from like Hardened Grudge and Berserker, he actually has standard like pure Saiyan links, Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, the Saiyan Lineage, Prepared Battle, Fierce Battle. He's an extreme unit that works well with all the other better superclass Saiyan units in the game, which you can actually get away with running him on. You know, you have the likes of Pure Saiyans and Power Beyond a Super Saiyan, kind of legendary existence, but mainly Pure Saiyans and Power Beyond a Super Saiyan, and especially Pure Saiyans and Exploding Rage, now that God Goku's here and brings that as a 200% lead. There's not many categories it goes on, but he can fit in there, and he doesn't really mess up anybody else's kits. Now, of course, his main gimmick is that he stacks, and he's getting key +3 in attack and defense +180 at the start of turn, and of course, he also has that 18% damage reduction, and the 18% chance of performing a crit, and the guaranteed additional with a 30% chance of becoming a super attack. And then not only that, on top of that, he then gets an extra key +3 and launches another additional attack that does another 30% chance of becoming a super attack, an extra 18% damage reduction, an extra 18% crit within the same turn after using your super when there's a pure or hybrid Saiyans category enemy. So we are actually facing a pure or hybrid Saiyan enemy right now in Jeets. Of course, Broly in Red Zone is a pure Saiyan as well. We are starting with 355k attack stat, 162k defense. I did also bring the Tech LR Broly, who hopefully at some point soon will get an Easy A, because he really does need one. He was actually pretty good upon release, so I'd really like to see what they do with his Easy A. But I've brought him to kind of trigger a few extra links. We're starting with 3 million attack stat. I know it's not anything impressive. Don't forget, he is now literally just over 2 years old, considering he come out for Saiyan Day in 2021. So wild that we're actually in 2023, man. But so his numbers aren't going to look as good, but still, his major thing is all that damage reduction, is the fact he can super attack multiple times, which is going to help him stack quicker. And my man, finally, the Rage Machine finally has a 200% leader skill. We also do have the RIZZ Easy A SJ Bardock with us as well, just because I don't usually like to bring support units. I think it's quite unrealistic, but in the very few cases, and Bardock is one of them, Bardock is a unit that is actually viable in harder content and also supplies support, so why not bring him? If it's bringing support just to bring support, no point. Like, it's just so unrealistic that, you know, it's just never gonna happen. But if it's a unit that's actually viable in harder content, your 19 Jiros, your 16 and 18s, this guy, and maybe another couple of units I'm missing off the top of my head, then yeah, I'll bring them. But now we have a bit more of an ideal link up. To be fair, we only do we actually gain the Saiyan lineage. We're actually not getting too much off this guy. But I'm pretty sure Berserker triggers when he supers. Oh no, we have to lose health. We have to lose quite a bit of health actually. Okay, I'm gonna leave the rotation like this for a bit. So off of 1 stack, maybe 2, 440k attack stat, 200k defense already. 200k defense with 18% damage reduction is pretty good. We do have also the extra 18% damage reduction, so we do have 36% damage reduction in total, which 36% damage reduction with 200k defense actually is quite okay, especially with how frequently Broly can super and Broly can stack. The only thing with Broly is that where you're going to use him, which was mainly even when Red Zone first released, which was against Red Zone Broly, is that a lot of the time you would naturally put him on slot 3 just because there were so many other units that needed to build up. For example, at that point you were using 2 Year 7 God units because you're running dual leads, You had the year 7 SSJ4s on there who needed to stack up as well. And then Broly kind of fell into slot 3 because of you bringing Easy Attack God Goku. You then wanted one of the SSJ4 units, specifically Goku on rotation, to help link up the SSJ4 Goku and Vegeta from year 7. So Broly kind of fell into slot 3. So even in a longer Red Zone event, which Broly is, Dokkanfest Broly didn't really have time to stack up all too much because you're in slot 3, because you were doing so much damage. Of course, you could counter that by, of course, moving him onto actual main rotation for a bit. But because of how good the year 7 units were, and especially because once they transform, you know, the blues got the dodge, you want to do as much damage as possible, Super Saiyan 4s have counter and damage reduction, you kind of prioritized that and left Broly to the side. So Broly didn't really have that much time to stack up, even in one of his most ideal environments, which was against a pure hybrid Saiyan enemy, stacking the entire time. And again, Broly is one of the longer Red Zone stages where you can stack a decent amount. Broly has 2 built-in additionals, each with a 30% chance of becoming an additional super, and then there's also the potential of another super attack because of the dupe system, while having a total of 36% damage reduction as well, which with enough defense, that's actually really good. And with an item active, a super attack wouldn't actually kill him with enough defense and with that damage reduction. So at least now he has a 200% lead, he does have a little bit of extra stat buff to him, which actually could kind of help him out in Red Zone, I'm not going to lie. So depending on how he performs here, I might actually take, because I don't think, no, I wasn't making content at that point. I don't think I was. I think when Broly dropped, I don't think I was making content. I think I made content, yeah, I started making content near the 6th anniversary. So I didn't even get to use Broly, like, in videos. I only made that one video on him, like, I think last year, where it was kind of like the Forgotten Dokkanfest or something. Because, as I said, after the first year of release, he kind of went under the radar, and he was still a pretty good unit. And that was Rainbow level 10 links. Now he's Rainbow level 10 links with a 200% lead. But with the Fizzy's SJ Bardock support, we're currently sitting on a 650k attack stat, 300k defense. I'm going to kind of use him a little bit, like, longer than usual, just to see where we can get him to in terms of numbers, just to stack him up a bit more, because we're only on turn 5 right now. We're up to 3.9. That's the only thing with Broly, because of the amount of attack he's getting is just purely from the start of turn, which is the 180%, and whatever you know, and whatever you're stacking, the 30% attack and defense raise. Broly's attack stat isn't that great. Like, don't get me wrong, the fact he stacks and has the damage reduction, multiple, you know, potential additional supers in his passive is good, but that mainly only helps defensively. But if Broly had something a little bit extra in his passive, like if he even just had attack and defense plus 50% on super, right? Or you got 50% attack and defense when performing a super attack specifically, or something like that, or just an extra attack plus XYZ amount. Broly's damage output would be a lot better considering you're stacking the entire time, and you have built-in crit as well. And also the extra 18% crit chance when facing a pure hybrid Saiyan enemy, before you even consider dupes. So the fact that Broly doesn't have anything extra in his kit to boost his numbers, apart from the 180% attack and defense he starts with, and you stacking, Broly's numbers look a little bit deflated, especially his attack stat. Like 4 mil, and we've already stacked a few times with him. Like, we're already on the God phase against Vegeta. Like, obviously that doesn't look that great. Yes, he's got built-in crit, so he will actually do some solid damage, especially if he gets crits, along with, on top of the fact you can additional super, so he can get multiple crits. Like, don't get me wrong, it will add up, especially with him stacking the entire time as well. But because he has no extra, like, buff in his passive, as I said, like, an extra attack and defense plus 50% when performing a super attack, his attack stat looks a little flat, I won't lie. And especially because now 2 years on, we're used to seeing like 8 to 10 mil on average, and then watching like some units like Ise, Gohan, and Cell do 15 to 20 million plus attack stats, which is honestly ridiculous at this point in Dokkan. But it does make his attack stat look a little bit flat, I won't lie. So if this man, or not if this man, when this man gets an easy A, he needs just that little bit extra to make his numbers jump up a bit. The stacking's great, the damage reduction's fine, maybe give him a little bit more just to help him when he eventually gets an easy A because of where we are in Dokkan. Oh no, he's actually still got a very good bit of passive. I won't lie, just he needs that little bit extra to like boost his numbers up, because just relying on stacking and the 180 at start of turn, it just means if he isn't critting, he isn't really doing that much damage. Like, we're on a 660k attack stat and 300k defense to start of turn, which is good. But his attack stat, when you actually super, that's why we're seeing like 4 mil, which is just honestly not that good nowadays. Like, it's just not good enough. Let me pop an Icarus, and hopefully we can take a little bit of damage to then trigger the Berserker link and get that extra attack plus 30%. But eventually, when this guy does get an easy A, just give him something in his passive, as I said, to just give him that little bit extra push, that little bit extra oomph. And Broly's putting out some pretty good numbers and will have very solid defense with the fact he's stacking on top of that damage reduction. Like, it's not the most damage reduction, but it adds up. It helps, especially because, again, he's stacking the entire time, but he just needs that bit. He needs that bit of oomph. He needs that bit of oomph. Otherwise, his damage output, 4.4 mil, ain't doing too much. The crit helps, but without the crit, yeah, Broly's a little bit lacking, I won't lie. But there you go. If he is hitting a crit, he's doing pretty good damage. So hopefully when he gets an easy A, they give him something like that. They give him some attack and defense when performing a super attack. Something like that. Maybe an extra attack just at the start of turn just to give him it. Just something a bit extra to kind of push Broly a little bit more. Because right now, I do believe he can still perform very well. But it's just, as I said, it falls a little bit flat. I mean, especially considering what we're used to in Dokkan now. That's natural. Again, like, units will age. And he's 2 years old. So it's kind of, it's to be expected that he isn't anywhere near as good as he would be upon release. Especially where the meta shifted and where we are, where we're at in Dokkan now. But he definitely needs a bit of a pick-me-up to just boost those numbers up a little bit. Because just relying on stacking alone just isn't enough nowadays, considering how harder content does hit you and the type of numbers they're putting out. It's just not enough. 18% damage reduction or even 36% damage reduction with just pure stacking just isn't enough. But we do now have the Berserker link active. We do also have Broly's active, where he gets that big like steroid boost of Ki plus 6 and attack plus 60% with attacks effective against all types in one turn. But we're already up to, we're up to now 520k attack stat, 340k defense. See, 340k defense with 36% damage reduction is actually pretty good. But, you know, this is after we've been stacking for 9 turns, so, you know. The next time he comes around, we will use his active skill. Even with Berserker, we're literally just under a 4.6 million attack stat, and unless he crits, again, it's just not quite enough nowadays. It's just not quite enough to just rely on pure stacking anymore. Like, it's just not enough. But if he crits, as I said, he can actually still do some pretty decent damage. Especially if he's additional supering multiple times and critting on majority of the supers he does. But that is also another thing that is kind of, especially with him being level 10 links and you wanting that extra attack plus 30%, getting your HP down to 50% in harder content really isn't difficult. Like, it really isn't. But the units you need to bring to trigger it that do not share the same name of Legendary Super Saiyan also currently aren't viable for harder content. For example, that Tech Broly, who hopefully soon will also get an easy A. So that's another thing that kind of hurts Broly. Yes, he's very easy to link with Saiyan units, but like, Berserker, to get that little bit extra oomph as well, especially at level 10 links, you're not going to be bringing other Broly units because they don't share the same name, or they don't potentially work well on the teams you can bring them on. And realistically, there is better options now. There just is, because we are 2 years on. There are obviously going to be miles better options for you to go for. But it is good that he now does have a 200% lead, and it does give me hope for his easy A, because now he has a 200% lead. He still performs very well with level 10 links and at Rainbow. And he still has a good base for an easy A. He just needs that little bit extra to make his numbers jump up for him to actually do some much better damage. You know, God Goku stacks. you know, but God Goku gets an extra attack plus 100% on animation, on entrance animation and things like that to help him do some extra damage. Let's pop his active. Let's get the key plus 6 and attack plus 60%, and now his attacks are effective against all types. We're now up to a 2 million attack stat because of the extra attack plus 60% and the support from Bardock. And the support from Bardock's almost given us 500k defense, which it's good. It's good. But when it comes to dealing damage, unfortunately, it's just not enough nowadays. But when he gets an easy A, man, Broly will actually be very, very good. Like, I do believe, aside from obviously dodge and guard, if they up his damage reduction or give him extra damage reduction through another condition in his kit, and as I said, gives him something on super attack or just some extra attack buffs in his kit, Broly could be somewhat similar, I'm not gonna lie, to God Goku. Just without the dodge and guard. But as long as you bump up the damage reduction or give him more elsewhere to give him like 40-50% damage reduction and a bit more in attack, Broly will be up there, I'm not gonna lie. 9.3 mil crit as well. He's still good. He's good. He's still pretty good. He needs a pick-me-up. He needs some help. He needs some help. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments on Broly now have a 200% lead. I'll see you in the next video, guys. And peace.